Okay. Now today we're going to talk about basically what we went over. I did my homework. Went through, spent a couple hours in the information I gathered from you, right? And then so I'm going to show you exactly how it's going to work. Okay. So let me ask you this first. Whenever we put money away, we want to invest money. We want to know why do we need to do that, and what are the concerns of what we're doing there, right? So we have two things: needs and concerns, right? So let's go over the needs first. Why do we need to put money away?
A rainy day.
Rainy day, so maybe like an emergency fund?
Yeah.
So I call it emergency fund. Okay, what else?
Savings.
Okay,
for
savings.
My kids. And
so college,
retirement.
like college education. Okay, college education, retirement, right? What else? Maybe I can help you out with this one. Let's just say that you were to have a machine, right, at your home, and all this machine did was print money.
Yeah.
Day in, day out. What would you do to protect that machine? You do anything and everything to take, right?
Right.
So we want to make sure we have protection, because I think what you'll agree with me, Dennis, is that you being one of the breadwinners for the family, actually being the sole breadwinner for the family, right? You're that very machine.
Right.
So we want to make sure we protect you. Right? Now, we also want to make sure we address all the concerns. Sometimes I write horribly. Okay. What are some of the concerns when we're putting away money?
Losing it.
Okay. We want to prevent it from getting lost, from losing it, right? Then what is something else? We want to make sure maybe there's some growth to it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
What's up with you?
Maybe access?
Yeah.
You want to have access to it? So liquidity, right?
Liquidity.
And then what else? One final thing. Something we've been doing all this time. We hate doing it.
I'm trying to blank.
Taxation.
That's right. Taxes.
We've been paying for taxes all this time, so we don't want to pay taxes anymore, right? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an example illustration of what this looks like.
Okay.
I'm going to draw a house. And don't judge me by my house. Okay. Now, on every house, there's a roof, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the main purpose of the roof of this house?
Shelter.
Shelter from the elements, right?
Right.
Maybe from the rain, sunshine, snow, winds, right? Okay. Now let's just say that the IRS represents the rain. Okay. Where would we want to put our money?
Inside the house.
Obviously, right? Now, even if we had a basement, we'd probably put it in there. But in California, we just don't have a basement.
Right.
So we want to put it underneath the house, underneath the roof, right?
Okay.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to utilize the roof of this house to protect it from the IRS, our money from the IRS. And we have a program that's called an IRC 7702-A that protects our money or shields our money from the IRS. Okay? Now, with this particular plan, it invests into what we call the S&P 500. You ever heard of the S&P 500?
Yes.
Okay, 500 most well-known stocks out there, right? Your Walmarts, your Costco's and those Targets and things like that.
Right.
Now, on average, S&P 500 has been doing about 10% rate of return over the past 75 years.
Okay.
Okay, that's an average. Now, for every house, there's also a ceiling, right? And there's also a floor. Okay.
Yeah.
Just like in this investment, there's also a cap, and there's a ceiling, and there's a floor. Okay. Now, for this particular ceiling, this is 15%. Okay.
Okay.
Which means that any growth in the S&P does, it'll give you up to 15%.
Right.
So the S&P does 10%, you get 10%. If the S&P does 8%, it does 8%. Well, Dennis, let me ask you this: what happens if it does negative 20%?
You lose.
No. This also has a floor of 0.75%, so you never lose.
Got it.
Okay? And the other thing is that you have access to this money, tax-free, penalty-free, depending on how much you put in. Okay? Now, what we want to do is, I want to make sure you understand this, is that does it address, based on this program here, does it address the needs and address the concerns? Okay? So let's take a look at this. Based on this program, does it address emergency funds?
Yes.
It does, right? Okay. How about college education? Can we use this money for college education?
Yes.
Absolutely. How about retirement?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, right? And how about proper protection? Protection, well, it does, because this is actually a life insurance plan. Okay? And for this one, I think the benefit, I think what I put for you was 100,000. Okay, so it has a protection,
Okay.
death benefit. Okay. Now, what are some of the concerns, and does it address all the concerns?
Looks like it, yeah.
So the first one is loss. Does it address loss?
Yes.
Absolutely right. The market takes a dump, we still get 0.75. Right? Does it address the growth?
Yes.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Anything up to 15%. Okay. Now, does it address liquidity? Well, you have access to it, right? And does it address taxation?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's sheltered under the IRC 70C-A, so you have access to it, tax-free, penalty-free. Okay. Now, with doing my homework, I'm going to go ahead and show you two things, right? I'm going to show you an illustration of based on money you said that you'd be able to put in the cookie jar, right? And then what it looks like, you know, as an offensive and defensive strategy.
Right.
Okay. So.
Sorry, I was texting Christine.
That's okay.
Do not touch this.
So at this point right now, I basically pull out the illustration, right?
The computer,
right? And I show her, okay, depending on the person's age, let's just say this person, we show them at 70 years old. I show them the offensive strategy and the defensive strategy. The offensive strategy is basically if nothing happens to you,
Yeah.
right, and you utilize this as like a savings plan, right?
Yeah.
At 70 years old, it shows here that you have a cash value of X amount.
Right.
That means you have access to that tax-free, penalty-free. You can use it for whatever way you want. Okay. And now, as a offensive, a defensive strategy, right? If something were to happen to you, right, your beneficiary would get the entire amount of the death benefit plus the cash value it builds up on top of it. Okay. Now, if you get in a situation where you need long-term care, right, and if you qualify the long-term care, this also has a rider on it that allows you to utilize the money that's the entire amount in the policy to pay towards your long-term care. Who's going to take care of you in case, you know, something were to happen to you? Do you want your kids to take care of you? You know, how is that going to financially burden them? And those things. You want to make sure you talk to them about that.
Right.
Okay. So after I show them the illustration, show them how much they potentially will have in there, right? Then I go over the three tax buckets again. Okay. Now, $200. Let's just say it's $200 a month IUL, right? Okay. So a $200 a month tax, and say it's let's say it's what we said, 100,000.
Yeah.
Say a tax now, tax later, and tax never. Okay. Now, where would you rather have your 100,000? Which bucket?
Never.
Tax now. Easy question, right? I'll see that, right? And let's also take a look at which one gives you more bang for your buck. Okay. So we look at the IUL, right?
Yeah.
And then we look at in comparison to like a 401k.
No.
Or maybe an IRA.
That's not your suitcase.
Right?
Got it.
Now for $200 a month,
That's my suitcase.
right? Now
Wash your hands now?
with that $200 a month, over the year, right? There's a couple of fees in here for the IRA and the 401k, right? The management fees, right? Plus any loss or any gains in the market,
Okay.
right? Okay, and that's it.
Okay.
Now with an IUL over the 12 months, there's still some cost of, because it's still an insurance plan, right? It's a cost of insurance, but only the gains in the market. Okay.
Okay.
Plus you get $100,000 death benefit. Now for that $200 a month, which one gives you more bang for your buck?
IUL.
Right? Okay. Now it kind of sounds too good to be true, right? And it actually is. The reason why I say is that because you have to qualify, and because it's a life insurance plan, you have to make sure that you're healthy. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple things. One, we need to submit an application with the first month savings. Okay. The insurance company wants to make sure you're serious about this. Okay, because it's a risk for them, right? So we have to send it in and make sure and send an application. Then what we need to do is a medical exam. Okay, we're going to draw your blood, take your urine samples, and do a medical test. Okay. Now, from the time we do that, take that medical exam to the time that policy gets issued, is a couple things. So we do that now, then we submit the application now. From here, we submit for the med exam, right? You do the med exam, right? Okay. Then anywhere from 3 to 8 weeks between then until from now until then, from the med exam, we'll find out the results.
Okay.
Okay. Now during that time, if for any reason your medical come back where you don't qualify,
Yeah.
the company will send you your $200 back, not a dime short.
Got it.
Okay. Now if you do qualify and you do pass, then you can do a couple things. One, you can increase the amount of your savings. You can add more to it. Or two, you can reduce the amount of the coverage. Okay. And basically that's it. Okay. And then once we go through that, then we issue it. And then
Okay.
any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so I just need your driver's license, and then we're going to fill out the application.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.